All right. Find a nice tall spine. Sometimes a good way to do that is to bring the shoulders up towards the ears and back and down. Often we jut our chin forward, so you may want to tuck the chin a little bit, maybe bow it down a little bit so that your head is even with the spine. Sometimes we prefer one hip over the other. So check out how you're sitting. And if you are favoring one hip, see if it's comfortable for you to come back towards the center. And if you're not sure if you're balanced, tipping side to side, saying, okay, here's my left side, here's the right side. How can I make it feel like both hips are taking equal weight, are taking equal pressure, are supporting the spine? Lovely. And I'll invite you to do a few slow head circles, really taking your time, going very, very slowly, more slowly than you're capable of, and probably more slowly than you really want to, feeling into any feelings of stretching, or there might be stiffness in your neck. And if there is, you can always linger in a place that's like, oh, that feels pretty good. That's a sore spot. And then if you've gone in one direction a few times around, we'll switch. And again, slowly, slowly, more slowly than your normal pace or what feels like an average pace to you, really taking your time, really feeling how the body feels. And then the next time you get back to where you started, we'll tip the head up towards the ceiling and then down towards the floor. We're going to work on seated cat-cows from the top to the bottom today. And then the next time you're in your cat position with your chin tucked to your chest, see if you can round the shoulders a little bit. Working on that upper back and that mid back. And again, there's no rush here. You don't have to go quickly. It can be helpful to follow the breath, but let the breath be slow and easy. And then we'll work into those nice even hips that we've set up. Slightly tucking the tailbone. And then arching the back so that we are moving everything from the cervical spine through the thoracic spine, the lumbar spine, all the way down to the coccyx. And just because our movements are using the whole spine does not mean they have to be fast, and they definitely don't have to be big. So see what feels good in your body. Maybe a big chest opener does feel good, but maybe something smaller will serve you better. So try not to let the ego get involved. Truly ask your body what it needs, what it wants, what would feel good today. And the next time you come back through center, we'll find some equilibrium here, some balance here. And we can do some hip circles. So figure out which direction is maybe counterintuitive, the direction you don't usually start with. See how that feels to spice it up a little bit. Again, going to your own edge, which may be bigger or smaller than my edge, but where do you feel like I still have the balance? My feet are still on the ground. My hips are still on the chair. And then when you feel ready, we can switch directions. Nice and slow here, reminding the body that movement is medicine, that movement is safe, that it feels good to move. So if ever you feel like it's too much, just back off. 80% is always good enough. And your movements don't have to be fast or big to be nourishing for your body. And we'll slowly spiral back up towards seating. Nice tall spine. Again, you might shrug the shoulders up towards the ears and back and down, tucking the chin slightly. And then if there are any other movements that would feel good in your body, maybe it's a twist, or maybe it's some wrist and hand movements that would feel really good today. Maybe it's stretching the legs out. But take a minute here and just move the body, even if it's not an official pose and you just want to wiggle and move a little bit, that's also totally fine. Maybe it's a side stretch, or maybe it's more shoulders. I just heard my neck crack a little bit. So, you do what feels good in your body. And then when you're ready, and do take your time, there is absolutely no rush. We'll settle into that really comfortable seat. And so, yes, a nice tall spine is really great and a tucked chin is really great. But if this doesn't feel tenable, if you don't feel like you can stay in this position for the next 15, 20 minutes, then scoot back so your back is supported, or readjust, or put a pillow behind or beneath you. Figure out what is comfortable first, and then see if you can have a bit of posture on top of that, letting the shoulders relax, letting the hands open, letting the jaw be slack. And then if you like, you can close the eyes. No pressure. You can also lower the gaze, make the eyes go a little fuzzy. Let the eyes be really heavy in their sockets. There are so many little muscles around the eyes that let us look up and down, left and right. See if you can quiet those and let the eyes be really relaxed. Let the brow unfurrow. Let the jaw be slack. Maybe you wiggle left and right. Or maybe you do a big yawn, inhaling. And letting it all go through an open mouth. Now is a really great time to set an intention, if you like, for your practice. It could be as easy as I show up. We can't always guarantee that the practice is going to feel great or that it's going to be a good meditation, but that's not really the point. When we show up, we are committing to ourselves, to our body, to our breath, to our mental health, and doing something very radical, which is taking time for stillness in a world that wants us to move, move, move really fast all the time. So whether you borrow my intention, I show up, or whether you have something else that you're working with, something that's come to you, the first thing is usually the right thing. You can always choose a different intention at a later date. Send it out into the universe so the universe can help conspire to make it so. We'll just keep that in the back burner as we come to the breath. In and out through the nose where you can, just noticing where the breath is in the body. Can you feel it on the upper lip? Can you trace it down the throat to the chest? Can you invite the belly to get involved? And diaphragmatic breathing doesn't have to be big breaths, and it doesn't have to be long breaths. Your belly doesn't have to swell to max and then shrink back down. We're just inviting the diaphragm to get involved. As the diaphragm lowers, more air can come into the lungs, the belly rises, and as it comes back into place, the belly sinks. And it could be just a little bit, and that's fine. Just noticing. How do you feel? If the mind is busy, you can just label it as such. That's thinking. That's feeling. And then we come right back to the belly. Inhaling and exhaling. You might give yourself a little mantra here. Inhale, I am inhaling. And on the exhale, I am exhaling. We'll stay with this breath, a nice, slow belly breath for another minute. If you get distracted, that's fine. You just come back and say, distraction, neutral, even. It all happens to all of us. And then come right back to the breath. On your next inhale, we'll really extend the belly, really deep, breathing in deeply. And then maybe holding the breath for a few seconds at the top. And then exhaling slowly, maybe through the mouth, through pursed lips, like you're blowing out candles or blowing bubbles. Working on some even breathing here. Maybe if you're a counter, inhaling for 4, letting the belly swell, and exhaling for about 4, blowing through the lips. And if that feels too quick, maybe you extend it to 5 and 5, or 6 and 6. But keep it manageable. Let this be a joyful breath. Inhaling and exhaling for about the same amount of time. In through the nose and out through the mouth. Feeling the chest rise and the belly rise on the inhale, taking up more space. And then a contraction on the exhale, where the ribs come together, the stomach comes in, the shoulders drop. No need to exaggerate these motions. We just notice, even if they're subtle, even if they're very slight. One more like this, inhaling for 4 or 5 seconds and exhaling completely. And then letting the breath return to normal. Let the breath breathe you. You're just the witness. And then bring the attention back to the hips. If they've become uneven or you feel like a little adjustment is necessary to make you either more comfortable or more balanced, go ahead and take that little movement. And then I invite you to focus on the root chakra, tip of the coccyx, the pelvic floor. Can you feel the breath here? Perhaps envisioning a brilliant red light, a warm light, a safe light, emanating from the root and illuminating the whole body. And then letting that light fade and moving the attention to the low belly beneath the navel. What's going on there? Can you feel the breath in this spot? Perhaps visualizing a brilliant orange light, a nourishing light emanating from your low belly and illuminating your whole body. And then letting that light fade and moving the attention to the upper belly, the solar plexus, right beneath the ribs. Can you feel the breath here? And then perhaps visualizing a brilliant yellow light emanating from the solar plexus, illuminating the whole body. And then letting that light dim and moving the attention up to the heart center. Can you feel the breath here? Perhaps visualizing a brilliant emerald green light emanating from the heart center, illuminating the entire body. And then letting that light fade as we move the attention up to the throat center. Can you send the breath here? Perhaps visualizing a brilliant blue light emanating from the throat and illuminating the entire body. And then letting that light fade as you move the attention to the third eye center, right between the eyebrows. Send your breath here. Perhaps visualizing a brilliant purple light emanating from the third eye and illuminating the entire body. And then letting that light fade. And moving the attention to the crown just above the top of the head. Can you send your breath here? Perhaps visualizing a brilliant white light emanating from the crown of your head and illuminating the entire body. And then let that light fade. Breathing into the root and out through the crown. And into the low belly and out through the crown. And into the solar plexus and out through the crown. Into the heart center and out the crown. Into the throat and out the crown. Into the third eye and out the crown. And then returning that attention back to the space just above the top of the head. Feeling your feet on the ground. Maybe sitting up a fraction of a centimeter taller. Dropping the shoulders. And thinking deeply about the hands and the feet. What are they touching? What can you feel? Either internal sensations or external sensations like your clothing, the earth, the chair. And I'll invite you to press the feet into the ground just slightly, maybe left and then right. Just creating a tiny bit of tension and a little bit of movement there. And then pressing the thumbs against the index finger, the middle finger, the ring finger, and the little finger. Maybe opening and closing the fingertips, or maybe interlocking and rolling the wrists, tucking the chin to the chest, moving gently and slowly. We've been sitting for a little while, so take your time here, doing some intuitive movements or a stretch that would feel good. And there is absolutely no rush, but when you do feel ready, you can open your eyes. Thanks for practicing with me today.